Hello, good evening. I am Martin Guest. I'm working as assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering in SNS College of Technology. Now I'm going to present topic on software packages and expert systems in environmental impact assessment. Software packages and expert system in environmental impact assessment is mainly to automate, simulate, and analyze the complex environmental data to predict the impact and improve the decision making. Key tools include modeling software like Aramud, Coramix, LCA software, and specialized systems, IEA mixes that use AI-based tools to evaluate project consequences. Key software packages in EIA. What are the key software means? Air and water modeling, that is Aramud, air pollution dispersion, and the Coramix water quality modeling, life cycle assessment, that is LCA, Pro and GABI are used to assess the entire environmental footprint of products or projects. GIS-based tools and tools like TIM evaluate landscape connectivity and biodiversity impact using spatial data to map impacts. Environmental management systems software such for tracking air, water, and waste, including tools that comply with the regulations. Expert system in EIA. The expert system are artificial intelligence based tools that stimulate human expertise to analyze complex quality data, components, knowledge base, rules, data, interface, engine, local reasoning, and user interface functions. They provide decision making such as identifying the potential environment impacts based on user interpreted project data. Examples. There are a lot of examples where tools can be used in different purposes. One is AIEIA, a tool utilizing physiologic for environmental impact assessment and decision making. And Mexes, a rule-based expert system for screening environmental impacts, notably used in the Mekong Basin. Synapse, a cell used for analyzing the specific environment characteristics used heuristic techniques. The physiology can be used for the different purposes and by making permutations and combinations in the different combinations of land and air in the atmospheric regions to prevent the pollutions in the environment. Benefits and applications. Efficiency, automatic repetitive processes and data analysis. Integration, handling both quantitative numerical models and qualitative expert opinion informations. Regulatory compliance, assisting in meeting environmental regulations and standards. Predictive ability, using historical data to recommend the mitigation strategies, mainly to avoid the disturbances in the forest like flora and fauna to prevent the environmental in the soil and air and water. Selection criteria. When choosing EIA software, key considerations include accuracy, reliability, predictions, ease of use, and compatibility with regulatory requirements. Using software to prevent the data without any hesitations, we are using the data to for the future expectations that should not affect the environmental in the coming future predictions. Here you can see that there is a TMS. EMS review and development, mobile application status and reporting, trending analysis, data acquisition. Data stored against the standardized reporting formats, real-time data capture, review organization environmental goals, identify the environmental impacts and legal requirements, implement the effective and mitigation measures, set objective targets and management matrix, mobile application and status reporting, clear the comprehensive KPI reporting, that is automated generation of customized reports, alerts and notifications. Without alerts, we can't do anything. So we have to get alerts during a disturbance of environment. So we have to predict what are the causes due to the prediction in environment and disturbance of environment. And trending analysis. Data analysis against predefined limits and thresholds, graphical representation and display. So that the velocity of EMS. Assessment of impact on land, water, air, social and cultural activities on flora and fauna. An environmental impact assessment systematically evaluates how projects affect land, water, air, society, and biodiversity. Biodiversity includes the forest, which may be tropical or flora and fauna, providing data for the mitigations and suitable for development for key impact include land degradation, pollutions of water, air resources, habitat destruction of fauna, that is animal, and for society, disruption of livelihood or cultural activities. Because due to this, a lot of animals are now degraded without any simple existence in future. Key assessment and aeration impacts. Land involves assessing land use changes, soil erosion, contaminations, and loss of topsoil due to construction, mining, and urbanizations. Water evaluates potential impact on surface, groundwater quality, hydrology, aquatic life, and water table depletions. Air monitors air quality degradation caused by dust and toxic emissions from heavy machinery, transportation, and industrial processes. We can also measure the air pollution by the air volume sampler. We can check on place and we can measure the SO2, NO2, and lot of OX. And flora and fauna biodiversity, that is focus on habitat destruction, fragmentation, and loss of species due to deforestation, noise pollution, and increased human activity. Social cultural access impacts on local livelihood, community structure, displacement, public health, and loss of cultural heritage sites or traditional practices. So there are five threats to biodiversity. One is pollutions. We can cause different pollutions like soil, water, air, and habitat loss due to the loss of habitats like different flora and fauna. And climate change. Due to pollutions, there will be climate change. In winter, we can get heavy rainfall. In summer, we can get more sun, more heat due to the climate change and the greenhouse gas effect. And invasive species and diseases. Lot of diseases are coming into the atmosphere without any existence of nature. So we have to control the disease by controlling the pollutions and overconsumption. Consuming of anything too much of existence will cause the overconsumption. So these are the five threats to biodiversity which should be avoided. Mm. So five main threats to biodiversity: land and water use change, over exploitations, climate change, that is CO2 emissions of greenhouse gases, and pollution by using of plastic particles, invasive species, that is the species which are occurred in the earth to affect the food chain in the environment. Water pollutions, domestic sewage, sediments, solid water, and toxic waste, which cause the water pollutions. So we have to prevent the domestic sewage, sediments, and the solid water, toxic waste which is supplied from the industries to avoid the atmosphere and groundwater pollutions in the atmosphere with the different stratosphere in the earth surface. Pollution causes prevention model explanation in English, that is prevention which causes the uses of cycles and batteries to avoid the pollutions in the environment. The lot of industries which causes for fuel gas and cause effects in the atmosphere, which leads to degradation of the natural gases to the human being. Mitigation strategies: land water implementation, erosion control, waste management, and wastewater treatment plants. Using pollution control equipment and where necessary, adopting greener technologies. Biological establishing eco gardens, creating wildlife sanctuaries, and the implementation of tree plantation drivers. Social: conducting public hearings and implementing resettlement and rehabilitation plans. Social means we have to gather the public and ask how the environment affect the environment affect their own nature by affecting the human beings in terms of air and water. Because the water and the air which enter into the human body and causes a lot of degradations to human body, which lead to some diseases. So to avoid that, we have to follow the social hearing without in the public. Threats: the threats affecting most fauna species are habitat loss and fragmentations, and invasive and problematic species such as feral predators. The impacts associated with the climate change have also been identified as a frequent factor in the persistence of fauna species in Queensland, which leads to more threats to the human beings as well as the atmosphere. So to avoid this, we have to save the environment by saving the species and species like flora and fauna in the biodiversity. So now we are. I'm going to stop here. That is going to stop here as the we are the